because this single organization has wasted God knows how much money on some of the most insane things that I've ever heard about. I think most people would agree with me that when Trump established Doge a couple weeks ago, they were going to find a bunch of government corruption, a bunch of fraud in the government. I don't think that's really a hot take. Like, yeah, when you start investigating the government, you're going to find a lot of waste, right? I don't think anyone's going to say that's a hot take. I think the majority of people would say, yeah, you're probably right. But I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that it was going to be this bad. Like, I knew it was going to be bad, but holy crap. The amount of waste, fraud, and corruption in this government is way worse than anyone, including probably Elon Musk, thought. I mean, we have been in the Trump presidency for like 2 weeks now, and the amount of waste and fraud they have found already should horrify and infuriate everyone. Now, before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. These are all great ways to support the daily content, but enough of the promotional stuff. We gotta get into how bad this is really getting, because it's been, what, 2 weeks since Trump took the oath of office and officially established Doge. So you would think, okay, in a couple weeks, they're just scratching the surface. They are starting to really look at what's going on here. And I am just shocked at what they're finding. And this is really stemming from a single organization, USAID, which, if I'm being honest with everyone, I didn't even know it existed like 2 weeks ago, not even a week ago. I don't think anyone really did. But in the past couple of weeks, especially the last 72 hours, it has taken the world by storm, because this single organization has wasted God knows how much money on some of the most insane things that I've ever heard about. Look at this. $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. $1.5 million for art for inclusion of people with disabilities. $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. $6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles. What the hell does that mean? Feminist democratic principles. $2 million to help the BBC value the diversity of Libyan society? Why are we giving $2 million to the BBC? Why? Why should we give money to a foreign news outlet? That's just the propaganda for the British government. And we're giving them money? This is just from one tweet. You just keep going. $1 million to an Armenian LGBT group. $20 million for a group that was related to a key player in the Russiagate impeachment hoax. It just gets worse and worse. It's like, what? We spent this much money on this crap, and this is not even scratching the surface. We haven't even looked at what's really going on here. This is the bare minimum. This is like the stuff they find day one. Think about this for a second. We spent how much money? $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. $20 million. What? $20 million. $10 million to an Al-Qaeda-linked group. It's like, what are we doing here? What? Why are we giving all this money away for crap that doesn't matter? I mean, we're not talking about one bad thing or two. We're talking about dozens of things that, yeah, it's only $1 million, which I can't believe we're saying that's $1 million is a lot of money. But compared to the federal budget, that's nothing. When you add it up, $1 million here, $20 million there, $15 million, $20 million there, another $1 million, it begins to add up. This is your money. Your money is being sent for sex changes in Guatemala, for the art of inclusion for people with disabilities, green transportation propaganda. It's just insane. But I would argue that what has been released the last 24 hours especially has shocked everyone. I don't think anyone was prepared for what they found. So, people began to look more into this USAID crap because it was bad. No one knew what this was. Like, wait, what's USAID? What the hell? They just gave $6 million to Egypt? What's going on here? Well, people began to dig even further. And what they found should horrify and infuriate everyone. For those that don't know what happened, they found out that USAID and several other agencies, they were giving money to organizations like Politico, the New York Times, AP, etc. You know, the media, the press, they're giving our taxpayer money to these organizations. Yeah, and you look at the graph here, it accelerated under Biden. Yeah, it got worse under Biden's presidency. And remember, Politico, they were the group, the organization that first claimed that, oh yeah, by the way, the Hunter Biden laptop story is fake news, it's propaganda by Russia. Yeah, they're the same group that said that it was Russian disinformation, the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. They're the ones that, when Biden took the oath of office, they began to get a shitload of money. Now, people are going to say, well, because they subscribe to Politico or the New York Times. Listen, if this was a couple subscriptions here, okay, that's one thing. $8 million is not just one subscription. And that's how they get around it, by the way. They claim, oh, it's a subscription. $8 million worth of subscriptions? To Politico? Wait a minute, that's not right. No one that's honest would say that's normal. No one would say, oh yeah, that's a good thing that USAID gave Politico over $8 million. But like I said, they're not the only ones giving Politico money. In fact, it's multiple agencies. Look at this. When you account for all the other agencies and all that stuff, it's closer to $34 million. And look at the chart here. It's a clear trend, isn't it? It was going up a little bit under Trump, but after Biden won, it exploded. And they were giving them millions of dollars every single year, and it kept going up and up and up. And you look at who's actually giving them money, it's not just USAID, like I said, it's the entire government. It's HHS. They're the biggest funder of Politico, possibly in the world. You had the Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, I think the Department of Defense also. It's like, wait a minute. We are giving them how much money? And it's the Department of Agriculture and HHS? What the hell's going on here? And you could keep looking. The New York Times, they got exposed as well. Yeah, the New York Times have been given tens of millions of dollars, and yet again, their biggest funders is the Department of Health and Human Services, the National Science Foundation, and like NASA. And the Department of Defense, by the way, it's like, wait, hold up. Our government, our taxpayers are paying Politico, AP, the New York Times, this much money? And under Biden, it's clear when it went up. It went up under Biden. Like, yeah, there were some before with Trump and stuff, but it was a couple subscriptions here and there. This is not just one subscription. This is $4 million in a single month. In the month of August of 2024, by the way. What happened in August of 2024? Oh, yeah. That was in the middle of the presidential campaign. When they threw Biden out and replaced him with Harris. Doesn't that make you think? It's as if this is corruption, and they effectively bought the AP, the Politico, the New York Times, and they bribed them and said, here's a bunch of money. Here you go. Here's $4 million for the month of August. No one agreed to this. I don't think a single taxpayer even knows their money's going towards this crap. And like I said before, it adds up. Okay, it's only $1 million here. That's nothing compared to the federal budget. I agree, but when you have the New York Times, Politico, the AP, when they're all getting money, I guarantee you probably Axios, CNN, NBC, they're all probably getting money one way or the other. That adds up. And it's a conflict of interest. That's the biggest problem with all of this. Are you going to really tell me with a straight face that this is ethical for these news outlets to not tell anyone about this? At least put a disclaimer that, yeah, we got a grant 3 years ago for $4 million. There's nothing. Not a single person knew this was happening. Which is scary that it took this long, but people are finally digging and they're realizing, oh, wait a minute. We can actually look this up and, oh, wait, this is really bad. We're not talking about a small amount of money. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars every single day. Now, for those that are wondering how the USAID stuff even works, like, how can it be so corrupt? Data Republican, which I think everyone should follow, by the way. She's a great account. She's exposed a lot of this. This is how it works. Government-funded NGO gets a USAID grant for something vague like strengthening education. That NGO dumps millions into a donor-advised fund. The DFA isn't required to disclose what the NGO told them to do with the money, but somehow, every hyper-political nonprofit with a sketchy agenda ends up getting funded. I wonder what's going on here. It's as if this entire process is super corrupt, and for the most part, it's benefiting a single party. Now, I'm not saying it benefits just Democrats, but because there are people like Mitch McConnell, they get a shitload of money. People like Bill Kristol, who's a Democrat now, but they get a lot of money from this. They benefit a lot from this. But it is clear who gets the vast majority of the money. Democrats. Democrats get like 90% of this money. And they slush it around. It's a complete mess. You can't track it properly. I mean, that's why it took so long for people to figure this out. Data Republican, she looked into this. She realized, oh, wait a minute. These organizations, they're giving money to themselves and they're giving money to a sketchy group that's affiliated with, like, Nancy Pelosi. But now it begins to make sense. This is the way Democrats have been getting money for years now. And that's why they're in a complete panic. That's why they're threatening Elon Musk, because this was their slush fund. This is where they got all their money from. But now it's closed. Trump and his administration are saying, we're done. The USAID is done. This is ridiculous. This is fraud. We have wasted billions of dollars on this crap. But the Democrat Party, they're panicking because they realize, oh, they were caught. They were caught, and now their money is gone. Their entire party was built off the slush fund. But if that's gone, Democrats have nothing. They're already in a bunch of debt, and they can't just make up a couple $100 million or probably $1 billion in just 4 years. That's not going to happen. That's why they're in the streets protesting and telling people to riot. I mean, this is just crazy, but the Democrat Party, they know they're in trouble. They know that this is such a big problem for them because this was their slush fund. That's the real reason that they're furious about this. Not because of, oh, they care about the children so badly. No, they don't give a shit. They only care about the money they get this. And the fact that the USAID scam helped fund many left-wing parties across the world. That's a fact. They funded so many left-wing parties everywhere, indirectly. And that's why this is such a big deal that Trump and Elon Musk, they're finally getting rid of USAID. But of course, this is just scratching the surface. I don't even want to know, if I'm being honest, what they're going to find with the Department of Defense, what they're going to find with the CIA, the FBI. I can't even imagine what they're going to find there. But if they found this in USAID, an organization no one knew about, and they found this much money in 5 minutes, what the hell are they going to find in the Department of Defense? What are they going to find in Social Security? I mean, it's going to get ugly, but it's time for people to realize that this is how corrupt this government really is. They have spent all of your money on this crap on themselves. That's how they got rich. And we need real reform to make sure this never happens ever again. But now I think people are paying attention. They realize this crap is happening. And a lot of people are furious, and everyone should be. This is your money going to Politico, the New York Times, the AP, to, well, let's be honest, be the propaganda wing for the Democrat Party. And they've been like that for years now. That's why this must end now. And anyone involved in this should be arrested. I don't care who it is. You gotta arrest everybody. You cannot keep this going. You cannot allow these people off scot-free. They have stolen probably hundreds of billions of dollars from the American people. That's the sad part about all of this. The amount of money we wasted. This money could have went to homeless veterans. It could have helped with fixing poverty in America. It could have helped with anything. But nope. They decided to enrich themselves and do it in such a manner, like through USAID, which was meant to be a good thing. It was meant to actually help people. But it didn't go to people that needed it. It went to NGOs. It went to very corrupt organizations that should have gotten nothing. This is just shocking that it's this bad. It needs to end now. And it's ended, I believe, Friday. So it's a beginning of something. Hopefully a positive comes from this. But I think it's a beginning of something real bad. Because if this is what they're finding now, within 2 weeks with the USAID, I'm just worried what they're going to find up with the Department of Defense. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below. Subscribe, share with your friends. And of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.